Headless repairs, shocking discoveries, and robots just bearing it all. This episode of Foundation is chock full of new information that could totally change where things are headed. Just a reminder, this is not a recap, but an in-depth guide on some of the biggest theories, clues, and mysteries the show has to offer. I have not read the book, so there will be no book spoilers, which means all you book readers out there can laugh at how wrong I am.
Yes. That is very sweet.
Now make sure to like and subscribe, it's time to get into it. Our episode starts among the twisting hedge maze of the Imperial Gardens, and if you listen closely you can hear a song called the Chant of the Luminous. Luminism is one of the galaxy's biggest religions, and Demerzel considers herself one of its followers. That's why she's brought Zephyr Virellus, one of the religion's high-ranking leaders. Everything she tells Virellus is told in the utmost confidence, as Demerzel has created a sort of memory barrier between the gardens and the outside world. Virellus won't recall any of their conversation when she sets foot outside the gardens. One of the fundamental beliefs of Illuminism is reincarnation. Only through reincarnation can the soul grow sufficiently on its path towards holiness. This is a problem for Demerzel. Being a robot, she doesn't have a soul. However, Zephyr Virellus makes the argument that Demerzel has already reincarnated herself, and this reincarnation coincides with how she's been programmed. We have the original Demerzel, who was programmed to obey the 3 laws, then the Zeroth Law Demerzel, and then our current Demerzel, who is programmed to protect the genetic dynasty above all else, even if it means undertaking tasks like the destruction of the Star Bridge, which killed millions. In fact, it was this very act that may have saved the entire galaxy, for without it the Cleons would have likely killed Harry Seldon, and the Foundation would have never been established. In my last episode, I theorized that Demerzel will die this season, and this episode only adds weight to this theory when Virellus suggests that Demerzel will die again soon.
Maybe you've died twice over and will die again soon.
However, it could be more of a metaphorical death, similar to how Demerzel switched her programming and became something new. However, this time her quote-unquote death would free her from being chained to the Cleons. This shot from the trailers is what really fueled this theory. Here we see Brother Day clearly in distress in the Ascension Chamber where Cleons go to die. From this earlier shot, we know Demerzel is in this scene, but take a look at this golden goo on Day's outfit. In episode 301, Demerzel told us that robot blood is the same color of these apples, as the liquid iridium from their slain bodies seeped into the soil and contaminated the tree. So there's all sorts of crazy things that could happen here. Maybe Day has to kill Demerzel. Demerzel is pushed, or Demerzel kills herself to move into a new body to be reincarnated. We do see this odd shot of her holding a robotic skull. But there is something that kinda pokes a hole in this theory. This shot here shows Brother Day with the goo on his arm while fighting these guys, which could mean Demerzel doesn't die, it's another robot's blood, or not a robot at all. Let me know what you think. It's also interesting we get our first mention of something called the Clasp. Demerzel tells us that the robots were connected with each other and shared one mind. I think this foreshadows other robots still alive out there in the galaxy. If I had to put money on it, one of these robots is Calais. She's been alive for centuries, has access to advanced tech, and has been tinkering away in seclusion. We also see that weird Terminator-like look in her eye when she opens a portal for Harry Seldon. So I believe Demerzel will break free from her programming in an act that is sorta like dying in order to be quote-unquote reincarnated. I'm finally glad to see Brother Day's storyline ramping up. After Demerzel had his lover, Song, sent back to Mycogen, he's been on a quest to get her back. That is, if Song is even alive. It's totally possible Demerzel just had her killed. Day's journey has him consulting the memory of Cleon the First, and specifically the culling of the robot sympathizers. These sympathizers would go on to form a religion Song was a part of known as the Inheritance, whose followers believe robots would save humanity. It's his chat with Cleon the First that informs him of Demerzel's maintenance tools, which the Inheritance view as holy relics. If Day can get a hold of these tools, he believes he can use them as a peace offering. There's a really cool irony here that it was Cleon the First that freed Demerzel. Now Cleon the 24th is trying to escape her. Now Day ends up fleeing the Imperial grounds with the help of Claviger Maven. This is the guy he agreed to hand over his nanite technology to in exchange for help. Unfortunately for Maven, his years of gambling with Brother Day have tipped Day off that something is isn't right. Maven never intended to let Day go, so Day had to get the jump on him. We also discovered that the nanite tech can be used by Demerzel to track him, so he inserts it into Maven to create the illusion he's dead. This is pretty scary considering he'll no longer be able to heal himself, and he's about to encounter followers of a religion that would no doubt want to see him dead. After 4 episodes, we finally get some insight into Gale and Han's relationship, and what appears to be a relationship that spanned years in reality has only been 32 days. That's because Gale has been in and out of cryosleep as Han grew up on Ignis, honing his skills as a mentalic. What I really think they're setting us up for is Gale's internal conflict. She has the fate of the galaxy in one hand, but this love for Han on the other, and these two will come into conflict with one another. This danger is exemplified when Han returns with news of the Mule. Han's brief interaction with him left his mind exposed, and the Mule was able to extract the name Gale Dornick. It also appears the Mule doesn't know about Ignis, the Second Foundation, or the Mentalics, which Preem Palver says they can actually use this to their benefit. In my past videos, I've theorized that the Mule is Harry Seldon, or that Harry is somehow connected to him in ways we can't yet comprehend. While I still think this is possible, I do want to discuss how the real Mule is the Balladeer. Preem mentions how he could feel the music from the Balladeer's instrument bury itself into his nerves. Is this simply an instrument that amplifies the Mule's power, or is it him actually doing all the controlling? The Mule did say last episode that he often feels he's not in control of his own body, which would suggest somebody has control over him. Then there's this tidbit from Preem that he thinks the Mule is lonely, which might explain his obsession for being loved.
You love me. You will come to love me. You will all come to love me.
One of the pressures Gale has is putting all the pieces together in her attempt to stop the Mule. She needs Han back on New Terminus, Brother Dawn on her side, and then there's Harry Seldon's emergence from the vault scheduled in 75 hours. This coincides during a crossing eclipse where we can see the shadows of the 2 moons descend over New Terminus, where we'll see the Mule attacking with his men. Psychohistorian Ebling, who managed to get a rare one-on-one with Harry, returns his findings to Mayor Inber and notifies him that the Empire is in control of the Prime Radiant. In episode 301, Harry cut his conversation with Ebling short after Ebling questioned him why would he have given the Radiant over to the enemy. What if the Prime Radiant given to Demerzel was a special or altered copy? Maybe it's all part of Harry's plan for Demerzel to act off incorrect data. Or maybe the Radiant acts as a sort of surveillance device, a Trojan horse if you will, allowing Harry to listen in on sensitive conversations. News of Empire's possession of the Prime Radiant reaches Ambassador Quent on Trantor. There she confronts Brother Dusk and echoes the need for their 2 sides to join together to take on the Mule. It's when Dusk shows Quent the Prime Radiant we realize these two definitely have romantic feelings for one another. Quent has been ambassador on Trantor for over 30 years, so who knows how long this has been going on. It also makes me wonder how she'll feel knowing Dusk is to be killed in a few days as part of the Ascension. The end of the episode sees our characters headed in new and interesting directions. Gale informs Dawn of the Second Foundation, but it's unclear where they're headed to next. We'll also see Demerzel in this ship, but this could be later on in the season. Brother Day continues his journey down to Mycogen. In the trailers, he's chained and meets these odd-looking zealots who I assume are members of the Inheritance. The Mule will make his way to New Terminus, but also possibly Haven to follow Torn and Beta's ship. We'll see the Mule basking in the sun as the eclipse ends on New Terminus, where he will have a conversation with Harry Seldon. The Clarion Station, where the Galactic Council sits, looks to be destroyed. Perhaps it's the Navacula that is responsible for this. This shot of Brother Day with Demerzel to the left and her tools on the right suggests he is recaptured and brought back to the palace. He definitely doesn't look like he's having a fun time in the second half of this season. So that's it for my episode 4 breakdown. Now I turn it over to you. I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time remember,
Daddy loves you very much.